Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Force here. It is time once again for some more StarCraft 2 commentary. Today we will be looking at a game between FooFighter and WhiteRa. Spawning over here in the 9 o'clock spawn position, we have got our blue Protoss player, WhiteRa, also affectionately known as Grandpa Toss, a very well-known and respected Protoss player. Very happy to be doing commentary with him in it. His opponent over here in the 3 o'clock spawn position, the far right-hand location, is our red Terran player, FooFighter. And he, of course, is known for being a great band as well as an airplane. I'm just kidding. FooFighter, also a very strong and known player, and yeah, just a great player, and I'm really looking forward to casting this game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Terran versus Protoss, FooFighter versus WhiteRa. WhiteRa already moving out here with his probe after dropping his 9 pylon, decides to move out with that early scout. Now you're going to see a lot of Protoss players wait until after the gateway, or maybe even until after dropping that assimilator there to do some scouting. But in moving out this early, what is going to happen for WhiteRa is that he will not only get a nice and early scout, figure out exactly what his opponent's doing, but he is also going to be able to do a bit of harassing the SCV, building the barracks. You can see moving out this early, he is certainly going to get there before that barracks finishes, and that will allow him to do some damage to the SCV and force another SCV off of the mining line. So not only does he get that early scouting, but he forces an SCV off of mining just to deal with the harass from his probe. So he moves in, gets the early scouting. He's actually going to notice as well, as we can see here, no refinery. FooFighter, as a result here, not getting a refinery still, is likely to be going for that 1 Rax expand. And this is, of course, information that WhiteRa will be privy to, as he has scouted out both of those Vespene geysers, and now can head on out of there with a fair understanding as to what his opponent will be doing. It's still a bit more harassed as he continues to engage at SCV before he finishes building that Rax, getting him down just below half health. And then the SCV says, heck this, I'm out of here, he says, and he goes back to build a supply depot. WhiteRa actually will be stealing a little bit of minerals back here so that when he does return home, he's got something to show for it. Back over here, we can see Assimilator is up, coming out with that Cybernetics core as well. WhiteRa with his scout actually sneaking back in. He's going to be getting secondary scouting. He wants to be 100% sure that there is still no gas, and he's actually looking for those follow-up buildings. However, FooFighter has nothing to show him as he's still saving up for those 400 minerals to drop his expansion, and it looks like he will be doing so outside at his natural. There you go. Sometimes you'll see the expansion just be built up here, but FooFighter feeling confident building down here, and he is going to need a bunker somewhere out front to defend himself against early stalker pressure. You can see that first stalker coming on through. When you go for this build here, this type of early expansion, and you just have Marines early on, I've said it before, I'll say it again, you need that bunker, or else early stalkers will ruin your day. And there you go, bunker is getting dropped right now by FooFighter. We can also notice he went immediately for double gas. This tells us, of course, that he is going to be going very fast tech. Right after this, we should expect a factory as soon as he gets 100 Vespene, and maybe even going straight up to a starport. We'll have to keep a close eye as to what he plans to do here. Expansion coming out here for WhiteRa. He has decided to respond with a 1 gateway expand, and then after this, we're probably going to see either 1 or 2 gateways in a robo, or just going out with about 1 or 2 gateways. Sometimes you'll even see a little bit heavier, maybe like a 4 gateway push. That's also a possibility as well. So once more, just one of those things we'll have to keep an eye as to what WhiteRa decides to do. Pulling on forward with the Stalker, able to walk right by the range of that bunker. Marines popping out to do some damage. Look at this, though. I mean, you can see there's an injured Marine. Sure, the Stalker took some damage, but mostly shield loss, and he is going to, of course, recover that. So not that much of a loss for WhiteRa, and losing health on the Marine is a problem as a Terran player because of the fact that until you have medevacs, there's really no way to recoup that, whereas the shields, of course, regenerate themselves. Back over here, WhiteRa dropping the 2 gateways, so going for that 1 gate expand, following that up with a 3 gate. And then we'll keep an eye if he decides to go Robo or Twilight Council tech after that. We'd also have another assimilator coming on up. That will be a second assimilator. Second Stalker joining the fun here. WhiteRa, all of his shields have regenerated on that first Stalker, and he continues to push forward. We'll be trying to do some more damage. You have a factory with a tech lab coming out, a Rax with a reactor there as well, so it's going to be 2 Rax with reactors and then a factory with a tech lab. This could be a Marine tank push here that we might be seeing from him, and look at that, it is a tank coming out, so that is what is going to be happening here. Marines pulling forward, trying to target fire down the Stalker, very close to dropping it. WhiteRa does need to be very careful. So close to losing the Stalker. Look at how much damage he's doing to the Marines, but ends up losing a Stalker. Kills a Marine as well. Oh my gosh, almost gets that second Marine. He manages to get in the bunker just in the nick of time. Still lots of damage there, and he also lost a Marine as well, but lots and lots of injured Marines there too. Marines and tanks, that is what FooFighter is doing. Siege Tech now coming through. This could be an all-in push here from him. At the very least, we will be seeing a timing push. This style of build is going to pretty much imply a timing push is coming here from FooFighter. Probably likely moving out with that Siege Tech research finishing. That could be a problem here for WhiteRa. Now back at home, we can see a robotics facility is coming on through. He's also got 2 additional gateways. He has dropped a robotics bay, and that is coming through right over here as well, so that will allow him to move up into Colossus. Now, Colossus will be pretty pivotal in defending against what will be coming here from FooFighter. As you can see, these Marines have no upgrades whatsoever. There are no tech labs attached to any of these racks. No upgrades have been coming through or will be coming through anytime soon. So it'll just be unupgraded Marines plus siege tanks with siege tech. And this mobilization should be happening soon, as that siege tech is near finishing. It looks like it is. Taking a look at the minimap, you can see movement down here, and FooFighter is deciding to push on out right now. Here come his siege tanks, pulling with a few SCVs and a ton of Marines. This is going to be a very, very strong push here. WhiteRa will be fully aware of what's coming, grabbing vision from that tower. He sees it all. Lots of Marines, a couple of tanks. I thought I heard a scan, but I guess not. That's just me going crazy. More Marine reinforcements coming out. Now, we've got that first Colossus coming out here for WhiteRa. He does have 5 total warp gates in play. Scan gets dropped down over here. It's going to allow him to see all of WhiteRa's forces. WhiteRa doesn't quite have enough right now to deal with this, especially with those tanks in siege mode. Very, very potent. We're going to see him try to come down to the bunker as well. That first Colossus coming through. Thermal Lance research also getting upgraded, researched. And that, of course, is that extra range there for those Colossus. Tanks creeping ever closer. WhiteRa cannot let this stay up here for very long. It's going to be a huge problem now. The first Colossus, once that comes out, that is going to laugh at these Marines. Unupgraded Marines, no stim pack, no combat shield. They're going to get demolished here. All WhiteRa needs to do is make sure he doesn't lose that Colossus to tank fire. That's the major problem. Pushing forward right now. We'll be trying to completely surround there with the Zealots. Get down those tanks as fast as possible. Colossus moves down, gets quickly target fire down, as he's a bit too close without that Thermal Lance upgrade. And target fire down from the tank, plus those Marines. And FooFighter working through the rest of what WhiteRa has. He is actually going to be able to repair this bunker, keep it up, and he's still got Marines in play. Moving forward now, trying to drop the pylon to prevent any more research coming out from that robotics bay. We get that Stalker moving closer and closer as well. Second Colossus just about coming through, and once that's in play, I'm a little bit concerned here. FooFighter will not be able to continue up this aggression at all. That second Colossus is going to be a major, major problem for him. Thermal Lance getting very close to finished as well. Moving forward, drops the pylon, prevents that Thermal Lance research from coming forward anymore. However, FooFighter is overwhelmed. Without enough Marines or any siege tank support, this Colossus is enough to force everything back, and with just 2 remaining Marines and a couple of SCVs, FooFighter heads back home. Speaking of which, back at home, we do have a starport coming through. We'll be dropping a reactor on that. Another command center coming on out as well, as a ton of racks. Also continuing up that tank production, so not switching quite yet into the bio-heavy. He wants to continue to get tanks, because what he's concerned about is a counterattack from WhiteRa. But now that all is said and done, let's take a quick look here. And look at that, my friends. Look at that. WhiteRa taking heftier losses with 3,800 resources lost as opposed to about 2,500 from FooFighter. FooFighter, actually, that was a very successful push for him. He wasn't able to get up and do much structural damage. He killed off a pylon, and that was about it. But all of the units he had killed, especially that one Colossus, which is so very expensive, ends up putting WhiteRa behind in terms of resources lost. I would say the one advantage right now that WhiteRa has is probably tech advantage, because he's got Thermal Lance for those Colossus. Let's take a look at upgrades. He's got nothing across the board, although weapons level 1 is coming through. FooFighter does have the weapons 1 already done. He's now coming through with that stim pack research. Now my concern here is that with a counterattack without stim pack, it's going to be difficult here for FooFighter. He obviously has his tank line, but the Colossus can also bypass that, so we'll have to see what happens if WhiteRa decides to push forward. Now, he is in a forward position here, holding the center of the map, and it looks like those Colossus alone are moving out. None of the additional units are pushing out with him. So moving forward with the Colossus, checks that tank line. He's actually just going to quickly drop the siege tank on the high ground. Needs to be careful. One down there as well. Now, WhiteRa does have the Thermal Lance finish. That extra range is going to help him a lot, and without stim pack, this bio is going to have a very hard time here. The Colossus with a little bit of micro, as long as he keeps those injured ones in back, is going to be alright. Now we've got 2 Vikings coming on through here, as we can see, for FooFighter, and that's going to be a problem for WhiteRa, as he has no anti-air reinforcements. But in the meantime, doing a lot of damage. Here comes that first Viking and the second Viking, and then spotting that, WhiteRa immediately decides to pull back. He's like, yeah, heck no, I can't deal with that. Almost losing this Colossus, very, very close, but able to get out of the range just in time as the Stalkers move into support and force those Vikings back. Very interesting opening here to the game. That early pressure from FooFighter, followed up by that little bit of Colossus harass. Again, without Stimpack, FooFighter really couldn't deal with that at all. We'll be lifting up a few of his bio units here and moving out with some medevacs, so he's planning a drop here with this, and those guys are scheduled to go straight over here. So with that, if he picks it up and moves it on in and scouts the third, I don't think he knows about WhiteRa's third yet. That is a no, but if he scouts that, he could do some pretty significant damage down here, as WhiteRa, with the bulk of his forces in the center of the map, is going to be hard pressed. Aside from any warp-ins, which he does have 6 warp gates to do, aside from a 6 warp gate warp-in, that's all he has to defend this. Let's see how much damage that bio is able to do. WhiteRa doesn't have any other aggression or counterattacks. He just has that observer scout going down, and here we go. Bio moves on in. We'll be stimming up, doing a good bit of damage there. Killing off a total of 9 workers and then starting to work down these pylons. WhiteRa tries to go back to mining. He's got 2 Zealots warping in. That's not going to be enough. There are charged Zealots, so with that upgrade, going to be able to force that bio back. And additional warp-ins coming in, as well as those Archons. That's enough to force FooFighter to pull back here. Archon trying to do some damage to the medevac. Medevac is going to make it back to safety. So attempted harass did a fair amount of damage, not a ton though. He killed off a total of 9 workers. Stalker's actually trying to intercept the medevacs. That ends up not working as medevacs just fly over. And actually WhiteRa deciding to pull on back to the natural expansion, who would rather defend his main, natural, and third than try to sit in the middle and, again, not really accomplish much. It's not like he was doing much there. He was just kind of scouting, and he can do that with one lone Zealot as it is. Taking a look at upgrades right now, we're at 1-1 for both players, actually. But you can see, in terms of those upgrades, FooFighter slightly ahead as his weapons level 2 is getting very close to finish. He's also coming up with the Terran ship weapons level 1, and that is going to help him tremendously with these Vikings doing extra damage to those Colossus. Able to snipe them down a bit quicker. With that, however, we are seeing WhiteRa make that transition into Charge Zealot, Archon, and High Templar. Again, it's really those 2 styles of play that you need against that bio. Charge Zealot, Archon, and High Templar, very effective. Colossus, also very effective. A mix of the 2. There you go. Pretty nice. Pretty nice indeed. Couple Marauders will be moving forward. Try to take map control. We got a few Zealots, though, going to help join the fun. And, yeah, FooFighter needs to be careful. He's going to actually bait them all back. Charge Zealots pulling forward. Going to do a bit of damage, and then, yeah, just turn around. Marauders say, never mind. Don't feel like dealing with that. So the switch here for FooFighter isn't a heavy bio, the more standard play, plus those Ghost. The tanks, the additional tanks that he got were just to defend him early on after that timing push, to defend him against counterattacks, because he knew his bio without Stimpack, unupgraded, wasn't going to be able to do much against a counterattack. He needed these few tanks to be able to defend himself for that reason. But again, from this point forward, we should just be expecting that standard style of play here from FooFighter. Marine, Marauder, Medevac, Viking, and Ghost. That's pretty much exactly what we will expect. WhiteRa attempting to pull down here with a few Zealots to actually break into the third. Unfortunately, the bio pulls down for FooFighter and forces all of those Zealots back. However, it does look like WhiteRa is prepared to push out. As he's moving out right now, he does have his 2-2 upgrades finished, weapons and armor level 3 coming out, Blink Research coming out. We also have, where is it? I saw a Warp Prism somewhere. I swear to heck. What does that even mean? Nobody knows. There it is, Warp Prism. Warp Prism moving out right now for WhiteRa. That's too bad. The sensor tower just placed down. He's not going to actually be able to sneak up there because that will be easily spotted. Here we go, engagement in the center map. Vikings pulled forward, trying to get those Colossus charge Zealots, forcing back the bio. You know, we have those High Templar pulling forward. They're just out of the fight for way too long, but massive storms forcing the rest of the bio back. A huge concave here for FooFighter, though, avoiding most of that splash damage, and he just worked through WhiteRa's army. Oh man, killed everything in the center of the map, and although he's only got a few remaining units, he just demolished WhiteRa's entire army. WhiteRa losing so much. He's got absolutely nothing right now. 34 army supply, trying to push forward and drop with the Warp Prism. A lone missile turret plus the Marine forces back that. And FooFighter, confident with his victory in the center of the map, just goes on to prepare to continue to expand as he breaks down these rocks. He's got already a command center flying over there. Might even take a planetary in that position. It's certainly possible. Charged Zealots and High Templar here getting warped in. Actually going to make those into Archons right away. He's going to prepare a small little push with that force. Got also some army in the center of the map here. No drops or anything coming from FooFighter. That was an intense engagement in the center of the map. Alright, so we will have a Charged Zealot drop moving over here, as well as a few Zealots and Archons pushing onto this expansion as well. And here we go. The Zealots moving forward with that War Prism. War Prism is going to try to drop. Oh, lots of economic damage going down over here. Charged Zealots plus Archons tearing through. Few Charged Zealots over here. Also going to be seeing a warp in of a ton more Charged Zealots. It's going to be huge economic damage here. He's going to just try to take this out. He knows he's about to lose his forces. Just wants to drop that command center, and he might do it. Yes, he gets it. And over here, he is forced the liftoff. Killed a lot of SCVs. 21 workers killed. The number is going to keep climbing. This is tremendous economic damage here from WhiteRa. What a successful counterattack. He has lost all of his forces as a result, but he's done a lot of economic damage with 33 workers killed, killing off this high yield expansion, forcing the liftoff over here. The income advantage right now clearly going to WhiteRa. Resources lost, WhiteRa still behind, but that was huge for him. Absolutely huge. The other thing that did was it bought him time to get out some more Colossus back at home to continue to get his upgrades. He's now 3-3 in terms of upgrades. Now, so FooFighter's only 2-2. Why? Why is he only 2-2? He must... I don't understand. I do not understand why he's not 3-3 right now. That is a problem. FooFighter, with a significant advantage to winning that center engagement, just took some massive economic damage. And the fact that he's only at 2-2 for his upgrades is a huge problem. Just now starting those 3-3 upgrades, that is a tremendous problem. WhiteRa was pretty far behind after losing that center engagement, but right now it's looking like he actually has a chance to win this game, dropping the Charged Zealots over here. Now he's getting this expansion pushed again. He's going to try to defend it as he moves down to intercept here with those Charged Zealots and a few High Templar and Colossus. This is going to be a very important engagement now. Moving on down, here come the High Templar. Charged Zealots trying to push back all the bio. Big storms going down on the bio as well. Colossus still alive with only a couple of Vikings to snipe them down. However, that bio tearing through the ground forces with a nice split and trying to stay out of most of that. More reinforcement. Charged Zealots going to kill off the rest of the bio. The Zealots over here did work, and FooFighter forced to call the good game. What a game, what a game. A very exciting and back and forth game here between FooFighter and WhiteRa. WhiteRa ends up coming out on top after pretty much losing a major engagement in the center of the map. He pushes with some counter aggression, does a lot of economic damage, and is able to defend in this huge engagement as well and win the game. Unbelievable play here from WhiteRa. Unbelievable play from both players. What a great game. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the commentary. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.